Hey everyone, welcome to the fastest path to your next job or your next promotion, our masterclass today. And I am so glad you are here, whether you're here live or whether you are catching this on a replay. So let's get started because time is wasting. I've got good news for you. And you know what? We could all use some good news. Your perfect for you job is out there. There is a job that will value your talent, skills, and experience, that will provide the experience that will get you to your next promotion, that will provide the paycheck that pays your bills and shuts down the worry mares. That's those panic attacks that happen in the middle of the night. And that job will also give you the work-life balance that you need for the life that is important to you. And that job will provide the company culture and values that you crave. The bad news is your typical job search typically means applying to all the jobs without a strategy, hearing nothing back but crickets, or when you do hear back, it is a rejection email. And if you do get an interview, you end up getting ghosted. No fun, right? So you end up spending a bunch of money on resume writers without knowing what you're looking for. Secret. You got to know what you're looking for before you fix the resume. You end up spending a bunch of time looking for jobs on job posting sites without a clear target. You spend a bunch of energy applying to jobs without a strategy, all to end up realizing that you are not on the fastest path to your next job or next promotion. The good news is now you've heard that there is a fastest path to your next job or next promotion, and you are thrilled because now you are about to get finally clear on what you have to offer. And now you will get even clearer about what you want. The bad news is just because you know what you want and what you have to offer doesn't mean you know how to talk about what you have to offer on your resume and your LinkedIn profile. It doesn't mean you know which experts to listen to about your resume and LinkedIn profile because there are an awful lot of them these days. And if you dig in, some are highly qualified if you are in a very specific field that they have expertise on as a hiring manager or a highly experienced recruiter. And some aren't qualified to be giving that advice at all in any field. So, just because you know what you want and what you have to offer doesn't mean you know which experts to listen to about your resume and LinkedIn profile. And it doesn't mean that you know what the love language is for your ideal company and how to use it on your resume and LinkedIn profile, because using it in the wrong ways is just completely awkward. And what does customize your resume mean anyway? I mean, really, do you actually know? So you end up listening to every expert on LinkedIn and nothing changes. You're still getting crickets because it's like bing, bang, boom, bang, bang. And guess what? All you do is get more and more exhausted, more and more stressed, and you still don't have a job. So you end up with an expensive lesson that listening to all the experts and spending all that money on resume writers doesn't work. It's one big, huge ugh. What if, instead of trying to recreate the wheel, you had a list of companies who actually need what you have to offer and who are the right next step for your career, and you actually know how to build your brand with your resume and LinkedIn profile, and you actually know how to use your target company's love language to brand yourself as their ideal candidate without wasting time, energy, or money on all the wrong things. Hi. So, in case we haven't met, I'm Wendy. I'm Wendy Taylor. I'm the founder and coach of Taking Charge. I help people make more money in better, happier jobs. Or, as my friend Janice says about me, I can swirl a cocktail, finish off a steak, reinvent your career, and create calm in your job search. She's right. I can do all those things. At Taking Charge, we are on a mission to create a career design for your whole life. But right now, there are a lot of you who need a new job. So that's what we're focused on today, is that new job that will support your whole life. What you're going to get today is clear on target, how to target companies who need what you have to offer and offer what you need. Get clear on brand, how to tune out all the experts, or at least the people that think they're experts, and build a brand with your resume and LinkedIn profile. Then connect, how to build an application and networking strategy that actually works. And by networking strategy, I do not mean emailing everyone you know your resume and cold DMing every recruiter you can find. That's not what I mean by a networking strategy. Also, when we're talking about application and networking strategies, the magic sauce is, the magic ingredient, since I love to cook, is knowing when to pivot. And then last but not least, impress, how to rock your interviews and negotiate the best offer for you. Okay. So this is a musical household in Music City, so we are going to rock our interviews. Where you are today is probably you are feeling lost, if not very lost. You're pretty sure your resume is buried in a digital version of that stack of papers there, and you either are tearing your hair out like the woman in the picture, or you're biting your nails like the man in the picture, who I also think has been kind of pulling on his hair based on the way it looks in the picture. You don't have a clear target for what you have to offer, who wants it, and who will offer what you want. You don't know how to craft a resume and LinkedIn profile that clearly tells employers what you have to offer, and you don't have a clear strategy for applications and networking, and all you hear are rejections. You lack confidence when you interview, and you don't know how to improve. And that's what makes you look like those two poor creatures in those pictures. What you're going to get today is the fastest path to your next job has 4 stages, 4 components, or we can call them pillars: target, brand, connect, impress. And when you do that, then you're like the ladies in that photo and you are winning. And you are riding in my orange Mustang. What you also are going to get today is some intel on some Black Friday specials. They are job search related, and there's also some stuff that's not job search related, just in case somebody you know fits in the categories of some of the other things that I do. What you're going to get today is this whole process. And so we're kind of taking a marketing or sales funnel and we're flipping it upside down. And we're starting at the bottom. We're saying first we need to have the target down. Then we build on top of that with the brand. Then we build on top of that with connect. Then we build on top of that with impress. So, do you have gaps in your job search strategy? Is there a giant black hole in your job search strategy? We're going to find that out now. So, what I want you to do is get ready. You're going to give me some numbers. Doesn't matter if you're watching this on replay, you're still going to give me some numbers because we need to know where you are right now, where your gaps are. So, right now, we are the picture on the left. Where we want to be, it's a picture on the right, or at least the modern day version of it, because usually people don't actually make you an offer in person. It's usually done over a phone call or Zoom, but either way, we want to go from picture on the left to picture on the right. From this to shaking hands over a great deal and a great offer. So let's get clear on what the fastest path to your next job or next promotion involves. So, starting with target, know what you have to offer, know what you want from your next job, and know who wants what you have to offer. We're going to rate these on a scale of 1 to 4. There are no decimals here. The math is simple. For my friends with dyscalculia who do not like the math, it's okay. I got you. I'm the daughter of an actuary. I love the math. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go from meh to not really to kind of yeah to heck yes. 1 to 4 on these things. I know what I have to offer, my talents, skills, passions, interests, and experiences. Notice I didn't stop at talents and skills. I know what I want and need from my next job. I know what companies need, what I have to offer, and are likely to be hiring now. On a scale of 1 to 4, from meh to heck yes, how are you doing on target? Go ahead and drop that in the DMs, in the comments here. Not on the DMs, in the comments in the training, so that I can see where you are and we know what we're doing. We know what we're dealing with. Where are we starting from? Okay. Next up, brand. That's your resume, your LinkedIn profile, cover letters, and what do we do about cover letters? It's the whole thing. And then customization plan. And what if you're dyslexic or writing is just not your friend? We got to figure that out too, right? So on a scale of 1 to 4, from meh, not really, kinda yeah, to heck yes, we're going to think about branding. I have crafted a resume and LinkedIn experience section that demonstrates my experience and results. If you don't have results in every bullet of your experience section, you do not have a 3 or 4 on this, people. And I do this in language most relevant to my target companies. I've made the most of all the features of my LinkedIn profile to attract recruiters working on my ideal jobs. Did you know that there are jobs that recruiters go looking for people for? And they go looking on LinkedIn. LinkedIn was built for this purpose, for recruiters to find hard to find talent. You want them to find you. I know how to customize my resume and cover letter for each application. So that's what we're talking about branding. You are talking to someone who is trained early career recruiters at 25 venture backed tech startups on how to find talent on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for over 20 years. I've been teaching executives how to use it for their job searches and their career branding for 20 years. And since I've done 12,000 interviews, I've read a resume or two, just a few. Okay, that's on a scale of 1 to 4, from meh to heck yes. Okay, so now we're done with those. Now we're going to talk about connecting. It's like putting together a puzzle. I was just talking about what I'm sending my mom and niece for Christmas this year, and I'm going to send them a some really cool 3D puzzles I found instead of board games. Usually I do board games because that's our family thing, but I think this year I'm going to do these 3D puzzles. Okay, so connect. That's executing your application strategy in sprints. Yes, I come out of the tech world, and what that means is we think in terms of agile sprints. Agile sprints can apply to a lot of things in your life. They don't just have to be programming. So we're going to execute our application strategy in sprints. And the reason for that is not because like we're techies and we think that's cool. I do work with people who aren't techies. The reason we do that is because we need to have a system, a strategy, a system, execute, track results, audit the results, and then pivot when you need to. If you keep doing the same thing and it's not working, that doesn't make any sense. If you're doing the same thing all the time in your fitness plan and you're not achieving your fitness goals, your body composition goals or your weight goals or your how much you can deadlift or whatever it is, or for me, it's like, how long can I hold a plank? Um, the reality is, if what you're doing isn't working and you're actually doing it, you need to make a change. Sometimes it's just you need to do the thing, but sometimes it's actually, is it working? So that's why we use the sprints. Then there's the networking strategy. And I have a whole system that I designed 20 years ago. It still works. If anything, it works better. If anything, it is more powerful and more needed today than when I designed it 20 years ago. But I am a process improvement goddess, and so I have been iterating and sprinting and tweaking everything that I do with my clients. And so I've been doing that for a long time. And what that means is it gets stacked with experience on different people in different fields, at different levels, in different parts of the country, in different economic situations. Yeah. So, and then Connect also involves executing those plans and pivoting when you need to, as I just said. So, on a scale of 1 to 4, from meh to heck yes, we're going to go back. I have an application strategy and I execute it every week. Whether you are full time job searching or you have a job and you're part time job searching, the target numbers are different, but you got to do it every week. If you don't do it every week, it is going to be a very, very long job search. Connect also means you have a method to track results because we can't audit and we can't pivot based on data if we don't have result tracking. And ultimately, is your Connect strategy getting you interviews, not crickets? They'd have to be pretty hardy crickets this time of year in the US, in most parts of the US, but still, crickets are a thing in the job search year round. So, on a scale of 1 to 4, how's your Connect strategy working for you? And our last puzzle piece, our last pillar is impress, rocking your inner game of interviews and your outer game. And you were like, whoa, wait a minute, Wendy. What do you mean about inner game? I thought all I had to do was show up, prepared to answer the questions. No, so much more to interviewing than that. And then, of course, there's also rocking your negotiation to get what matters most to you, which sometimes is actually not base salary. One of the people I worked with most recently, it's about title for him. It's actually not about salary. It depends. Another person I worked with, it was actually about benefits. And that's what mattered. So on a scale of 1 to 4, from meh to heck yes, I know how to prepare for the inner game and outer game of interviews. I know how to manage the interview process to get offers because let me tell you, even if you're really good at both the inner game and the outer game of interviews, the in between each stage of the interview, managing the interview process, that's where the rubber meets the road. I like to talk about the charismatic CFO I worked with. And she's the only person in 20 years of coaching who did not need my help on what she was going to do in the interviews. She still needed my help managing the interview process between each step. Everybody needs that. And she is the only person in 20 years who didn't need help with the inner and outer game of interviews. But then she's a charismatic CFO. And how many of those have you met? Okay. By the way, outcome, we got her career ultimate icing on the cake job, and we retired her husband. So yeah. Also impress. I know how to negotiate to get what is most important to me because that is part of the impress process, right? It's not just the inner and outer game of interviews. It's not just managing the interview process to get offers. And that gets real complicated when you are dating two companies, meaning you're in the interview process with two companies and you want to move them so they're going to get offers at the same time. Yeah, secret sauce there. On a scale of 1 to 4, from meh to heck yes. And I'm missing a slide. I know how to prepare for the inner game and outer game of interviews. I know how to manage the interview process to get offers. And I know how to negotiate to get what is most important to me. Scale of 1 to 4. Drop it in the comments. So so I have a bunch of people sent in questions that I want to answer. And the one that I didn't add to the slide is, should I just wait until January? And my answer is no, 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 no. That's my version of Santa saying ho, 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 ho. And what I mean by that is this is actually the best time of the year for job searches. Now, I'm not saying that there's going to be a ton of new jobs posted next week with the holiday in the US, but between mid-November and the end of December is the best time for a job search. Let me tell you why. There are a lot of companies with a calendar year, fiscal year. There is money for positions already budgeted and approved, and people can start on January 2. It's a weekday. It's first business day of the new year. They need to fill those jobs now. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is there are an awful lot of people who believe in the myth that they should stop their job search in mid-November. I have actually had some of my senior executive people in my world say that to me just in the last 3 weeks. They were talking about they were taking some time off and they were going to get started working on their next executive role with me. And then they said, I'm just going to wait to January. I said, well, that's a mistake, but you can do it. So don't make that mistake, people. You want to do it now. So there are jobs because of fiscal year money. There's also jobs because of fiscal year money that if they don't spend it in 2024, there's that. And then there's all the silly people who believe the myth that this is a bad time to be hunting for a job. And therefore, what ends up happening is that there are fewer people actively engaged in a job search. So you have less competition. And given that for the last year and a half or 2, there's been a lot of competition, that's huge. That's huge, people. And there's a 4th reason. Doesn't matter whether people have a religious practice that involves a holiday at this time of year or not. There's something about this time of year that makes people warmer and fuzzier about helping other humans. So it's actually a really good time for a highly systemic, highly strategic networking strategy where you make it easy for people to open doors for you, which, of course, is something I can teach you. Okay. AI and job search. I don't have time to say everything I have to say on that subject. Let's just put it this way. People hire humans. I would say people hire humans they like. Obviously, theoretically, that's inappropriate because it should be a process that doesn't have to do with whether they like you. And quite frankly, right now, smart employers, smart talent teams, the people doing the screening and to pick candidates to send to hiring managers, they are very focused on results right now. Why? Because it's been a rough 2 years. So, largely stick with the human. There are times and places to use AI in a way that's valuable, but I would say learning some Boolean searches would be far more valuable in your job search. And that's something we talk about in my coaching program. How to structure your search if you've just been laid off. We just did that here. Now you know what you've been doing right, what you've been doing wrong, and whether you need help, whether you want to do it faster. If you need help and want to do it faster, then keep listening. Heard a lot of tech layoffs recently. Is it a good time to change a job? If you're employed and what you are doing is building skills that sets you up for your next job, and they haven't changed you to a boss that doesn't like you, and you're thriving in the current company, then maybe it's not a time to change. But notice all this criteria. Are you acquiring experience and skills that sets you up for your next promotion in your next position? If you aren't, figure out if you can do that internally. If you're like one of my clients and they just reorged, he didn't lose his job, but he's now reporting to somebody different and they have history. Okay, time to light a fire under that job search. Gentlemen, start your engines. If you're just in a culture that doesn't work for you, where you are a unicorn or a zebra, I like to call them zebracorns, in a land of donkeys and horses, I guess that would be dorses, then you probably need to make a plan to get out. And it's going to take you a while. A part-time job search is going to take a good long while. So you better start now. And then up here at the top, I went from the bottom up here. Where should I focus the majority of my time on? What should I not worry about? First of all, you need to get clear about what your strategy is before you worry about your resume and LinkedIn profile. Then once you have that in order, you're ready to start your application sprint. You want to see, are there enough jobs to apply to that I'm highly qualified for? That's the first thing you need to do. And you need to check your results. You don't like your results? You should call me. You like your results? Great. Keep doing it. Are there not enough jobs to apply to? Maybe because you're senior or maybe because of the field you're in, then you either need to expand your search or you need to do a connect strategy. And we need to talk about what that looks like, because just giving your resume to people and cold DMing recruiters is not how to do things. And that leaves us to the how to reach out to recruiters directly without getting ghosted question. My answer to that is don't. Best way to avoid getting ghosted by recruiters: don't cold DM recruiters. It's not their job to respond to you. Period. End of story. If that doesn't make any sense to you, find my videos on the myth of the recruiter on the white horse and watch them. Watch them 5 times, and then I think you'll get it. Now, how do I do all this? There's one word, it's experience. I've scaled a startup from employee 23 to 500 and a $100 million exit in, by the way, a pretty darn rough economy. I've led millions of dollars in consulting engagements with dozens of Fortune 500 and VC-backed startup companies. I've led award-winning programs at a leading nonprofit organization, and I've led the turnaround of a small nonprofit that saved lives in the San Francisco HIV positive community. I've designed talent strategy at VC-backed startups with a 64% exit rate. And by the way, yes, designing the talent strategy had a lot to do with that. And I've conducted 12,000 interviews. So imagine having someone who has hired thousands in the private sector and in nonprofit advising you. Imagine getting all the interview design secrets from someone who has conducted 12,000 interviews. Imagine negotiating your compensation details with all the real data, because guess who has it in her head, so you don't leave money on the table. Told you I was a numbers girl. Imagine building your long-term career strategy with someone who has 30 plus years of of management experience, most of it executive management experience. And imagine knowing that what matters most to your coach is that your career works for your whole life. Where you are now, where you want to be. So, if you want to get results more quickly, that's why we call it the fastest path to your next job or your next promotion. In my coaching program, we start with the target, then the brand, then the connect, then the impress. I've designed action plans, and all of my clients get access to these. Everything's starting from the beginning, figuring out what you have to offer and what you want, and then all the way through to a 30, 60, 90 process when you land your next job or next promotion. And if you add all that up, we can add it all up and we can put these numbers on it, and they're very market based and all of that. And that's like a big scary five-figure number, and let's just not go there. So I did say something about Black Friday. So, two different ways to work with me: 2 one-on-one calls a month or 1 one-on-one call a month. That's on top of 2 calls a week in a small cohort with support in between calls in a Slack community, access to all those action plans, texting access the second you're in interview processes all the way through negotiation. So you can pay up front, pay for 2 months, and you're in through March 31, 2025. You can pay up front for 4 months, and you're in through June 30th. And so basically, we are going to do a little bit of math. I will do it for you. We can get on a call. So 497 or 747 times 2, or 497 or 747 times 4. I'll do the math. Don't worry about it. Real simple. Now, I want to call out kind of the elephant in the room, and that is, how long is a typical job search? It used to be the people who did the work and weren't super senior execs landed in 3 months. That is not very typical these days. It is usually longer, but the smart people know that they have things they need to do after they land, and you want to be working with me when you land. So, know that if you sign up to work with me through June 30th of next year, you're going to be glad you did. Obviously, with my background in tech, 25 years in Silicon Valley, obviously the cred's there. So, product engineering, marketing, sales, finance, customer success, operations, HR, recruiting, IT, process improvement, you got it. Early career executives and everybody in between. If you are making a major transition, if you're a nonprofit leader, teacher, lawyer, doctor, moving to the private sector, or the other way around, we need to talk because job searches are harder. What is at risk if you don't find that job fast? What is it doing to your health, your marriage, and your finances? Notice I asked health and marriage before I asked about finances. So, drop me a Black Friday in the DMs if you want to talk about getting on the fastest path to your next job or your next promotion. You want to do this now. Don't wait. Your health, your relationships, your family, your passions and interests, your finances are counting on you to make a smart decision about your next job. Let me help you.